What's going on, everybody? It's your boy D coming at you with an impromptu review. I figured since it was Friday the 13th and also a full moon tonight, I go to the movies and check out It Too, It Chapter 2. I originally was going to go see Hustlers because that was the new movie that came out this week, but I hadn't seen it yet. And with everything lined up the way it did, I figured might as well go see It Chapter 2 instead. So the movie was actually really good. It's 2 hours and 49 minutes though. I was not expecting that. One of the big things that happened was the fact that they had to reestablish who the characters were. So it took about the first hour, and then the second hour was this task type thing they had to do, and then the third hour was the climax of all that. So uh, it wasn't bad at all though. Every character had a time to shine. The only one I wish that they had given a little bit more to was the character of Mike. He was actually played as the adult version by the Old Spice guy. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but you know the look at your man, now back at me, now back at your man, now back at me. He played Mike, and he's the one that brings everybody back together. I am a fan of this since the original, so I saw the original back in the '90s, and they did it a different way back then. So it wasn't the same type of movie. The first one was the kids, the second movie was the adults. Though the second movie does go back and forth to the kids a few times. So that was a major thing. They had some major stars in this one too. You had Bill Hader playing Richie. You had um, Bill being played by uh, James McAvoy. You had Beverly being played by Jessica Chastain. So those were your big actors in this. Um, and they all did really good. One of the problems was the writing to me wasn't as good. So lots of characters in the beginning were very one dimensional, but as it went along, you could see they were all kind of coming together. It acted a lot better. And it came together by the end. The last like 45 minutes of it, you're like, okay, you're really into it. It's a nice little final battle. It was a perfect, almost perfect ending to the movie. I did like some stuff that the original did that this one didn't. It didn't even talk about really. There were some characters that were in this and the original that really had no meaning in this. They had more meaning in the original. I didn't want to compare the two as much, but there was just some stuff that stuck with you because the original was pretty iconic. One thing was like the Bowers character. They had a good arc for him in the first movie. In this one, they just kind of included him, I guess, because he was still in the book, though they kind of finished him off perfectly in the first movie. And they kind of try to go backtrack and explain how he lived. It's a bit of a retcon because if you watch the first movie, there's no reason and no way this character should have lived. He really didn't add anything to the story. I guess they had to have this other danger element because Pennywise couldn't really affect them or hurt them in any way until they got really, really close to him. So I guess he was using this character to try to take them out beforehand. Um, but other than that, that was like probably one of the only thing I didn't really like too much. The first movie, while it is longer, it doesn't. You're looking at the original to see the kids get scared and everything that was happening to them. So see this with adults, there was just times where you just kind of like this isn't really affecting them the same way. So it was more of a mental, and it should have been more focused on their mental state than just plain fear like it was in the original. One thing um, that I did notice was that there was a lot more jump scares in this one. So I guess they saw what worked in the first one. The first one, to me, really only had this one jump scare, which was a great scene in the first one when they're inside of um, the garage and the camera goes off in the way they did that. And some of the stuff with Pennywise was a lot better in that one. Pennywise isn't really in this one as much. Every time he's on screen, Skarsgård does great as the character, but they kind of went with the more the monster movie element with this one, and him just instead of him just being like this creepy looming thing in the background. So every time the camera kind of cut away and then cut back, you knew it was going to be a jump scare. It got to the point that I even started like counting them down. I'm like, okay, here comes the jump scare. 5, 4, 3, 2. So that was. I think they went to that jump scare well one too many times. But the idea of these people coming back to take out Pennywise, and this was something we're afraid of as kids, and you know as an adult, you're like, that's not real. That's not real. And then it's actually out there, and you're like, okay, your mind has to kind of wrap around that. So that was a little bit of an issue. And you did get some closure to a lot of stuff that happened in the first movie. I know it sounds like I'm comparing the two, and usually I don't like to do that even when it comes to sequels. But the main reason I'm doing it this time is because the second movie doesn't exist without the first movie. So you have to play up that. The upside that I heard is that they're actually going to be making a super cut of the first and second movie. So I guess that's going to be like a 6 hour movie. I don't know if they're going to do it like the old 90s version where they're going to add the adult parts in and supersede them with the original movie, or if they're just going to have like, oh, here's the first movie, here's the second movie, let's put them together and let's add some scenes to kind of flesh out everything. Definitely go see if you saw the first one though. It's just, it gives you that closure. It definitely has a great ending that just gives you a lot of closure as to what happened. So I was highly liking that part. Other than that, I think tomorrow, like, I'll probably go see Hustler. So that's, I'm looking forward to that. I've actually heard good things. I'm surprised it had like a 90% Rotten Tomatoes score. My mother, of all people, wanted to check it out this tonight. So it kind of threw me off when she said that, but I was glad I went and saw it. Do strap yourself in though. It is 2 hours and 49 minutes long, and you're sitting there, but you never feel bored. The whole movie, every time you thought it had good pacing, and it just kept going. So you're like, okay, it was almost like I'm not gonna say it was as good as Avengers 3 to me, but and it wasn't as good as the first one if I had to compare, but it definitely kept the pace up. And there were some elements that like they added into it. You were kind of like, oh, okay, because they were stuff. There was stuff that said in the original book of like how to defeat the monster and some other things. And I was kind of sitting there like, yeah, did we really need this in the movie? Is it really adding anything to the movie? So that stuff I kind of was like, that's all right. They, I guess, because Stephen King had in the book, and it was very trippy what he had in the book, and Stephen King was doing some crazy stuff back in the 80s and 70s when he wrote this book. So he was smoking a little bit of peyote, if you know what I mean. That so you can kind of tell with that scene, you were like, yeah, he was on some stuff. Uh, but they what a pleasant surprise I did enjoy was that they brought back a lot of the original actor kids. You could tell they didn't film this right after the first one because they were definitely older, but they kind of tried to put them right into the scenes into that summer as best as they could, and they did give you that follow up with some of the other stuff that might have happened that summer while they were trying to defeat Pennywise. So I definitely look forward to that, and hope everybody's Friday the 13th has been going pretty good. This one for me has been like, eesh, it's a little, it's been a little. Actually, let me take that back. Nothing bad happened today. I know I had y'all going for a second there. Usually when this Friday 13th, I guess you make the day what it is, but this one was fine. I haven't had a chance to get a good look at the moon because it's been overcast here. I'm in Maryland, so I didn't get a chance to see it. But if you do get a good picture of it, let me know and let me see what you thought. But yeah, it's probably gonna do it for me. Definitely go check out It Chapter Two. It's definitely, if you were a fan of the original, if you didn't see the original It and you just want to watch them both back to back, it's a good rent. You can kind of have it on, do what you were doing, just enjoy the movie in the comfort of your own home. You definitely don't have to go to the theater to go see it. Uh, but if you saw the original, definitely go see this one in the theater. Go see it. I saw it with a good crowd. There was a lot more comedy in this one than I thought. When you got Bill Hader, you kind of got to have a lot of more comedy, and at times it kind of off put the horror elements and the tension elements because it's like, oh, here's this comical moment. And I guess I call that the Marvel effect. The Marvel movies have had this effect on movies where it's like you gotta be able to add the comedy into it. Having some comedy here and there can always add to your movie, but if you add like a little too much, it kind of downplays what's actually happening and the severity of the situations. So that'll do it for me. Hope you enjoyed my stream. If you're watching this later, don't forget to hit me up and let me know what you thought of the movie and if you enjoyed it. That I guess I'm just going to go ahead and end it right here. I'll see you all next time. I'm out. Peace.